We have so many stories in our lives, but our stories are not always heard. On the Hear My True Story podcast, we tell our own true stories.
Before the white car backed, our head teacher had scattered. Looking at him, I could only see his tie that was flying backwards, waving at us, and he disappeared in thin air.
I want to share my life story. I want to share my voice with the people because I know that just a small joke I can tell through this podcast, it will make someone smile.
When you ask me what I fear most in life, I would definitely respond to you and say it's fear itself.
We are fighting for togetherness. We are fighting for equal rights. We are fighting to end injustice.
You don't have to be a storyteller or writer because, guess what? Life writes the best stories.
Hear my true story.
Welcome back again to the Hear My True Story podcast. It is me, your host, Otako. In this episode, we have part 2 of the conversation with Nathan Katongole, one of the storytellers from the Hear My True Story project, Kampala. We shall get to know more about the storyteller, the backstory behind the storyteller. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Nathan Katongole.
Welcome to Hear My True Story Kampala Season 1, where we tell true stories and have conversations about real-life experiences with non-storytellers and storytellers from Uganda. Hear My True Story Kampala is a joint project between Hear My True Story podcast and Omoti Creative, an organization in Uganda. Omoti Creative is an arts organization that provides safe and free learning spaces for creative arts, educational support, and cultural exchange opportunities to children and youths in Uganda.
Hello, our listeners. My name is Otako. Yes, today I'm here again with a conversation with Nathan. Nathan shared a beautiful story about his experience, his life as a child studying in Uganda and living in the village in Uganda. So maybe today we shall get to know more about that. So Nathan, please, could you introduce yourself for our listeners to get to know more about you?
Thank you so much, William. Thank you so much, William. Dear listeners, hi, how are you? I hope this finds you very good and safe. My name's Katongole Henry Nathan. I'm a performing artist by profession. I major in acting for theater and screen. I'm a voiceover artist for radio and TV. I'm a commercial model for still and visual, a storyteller and a content creator, and I work with the acting beasts centered in Uganda, as well as the orangutans management. And generally, I am a freelancing actor. That's me.
But to continue on, I would like to request you to a bit be loud so that I can really pick you very well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You in one of your story, as in when you are telling your story, you talked about something that was with skin color, brown and black. I mean, I don't understand because in Uganda, most of us we are Ugandans. We have light-skinned people. We have not like brown. We have brown people. We have black people. We have people of different colors. But in your story, you mentioned about how color was a big thing on the side of your mother and how your mother was being called Mzungu. So my question is skin color a very big issue in Uganda?
To an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent, it's an issue. There's a saying in Uganda, I don't know how best we can interpret it, that says ofunda no mubi naenga mweru. Like it's better to be with a woman who is ugly but brown. You know? So in Uganda, skin, by the way, is a very, very big issue, especially for women. I don't know what really inspires people about being brown or being too light-skinned, but there's a lot of bleach issue happening currently. So for me, my mom is half Ugandan and half Kenyan. And she's really, really light-skinned. Like, and back then in those years when she really had no big stresses and problems in life, where she only had to mind about food and there's a husband providing, there was more comfort and more growth with her skin. So being very, very brown at my school, it was not easy to find a light woman to an extent of my mom. They were there. Parents used to come around. They were brown, but not really, really, really brown. There's having that chocolate skin. You're not dark. You're not brown. You're in between. But my mom had a side. When you would see her from a distance, it would feel like you're seeing a white person, you know? So it was outstanding, and it became a signature for her at my school that you don't even have to explain to anyone. By just seeing that color from a distance, they know the particular kid for this particular thing. And my dad was dark-skinned. There was a contrast. I don't know how this happened, and I still want to know how my father met my mom. I just don't get the magic, because even me, the output, my skin tone is way too different from my mom and my dad. I am in my own league as well. But skin color is a very big aspect for people in Uganda. I don't really know what I should say about that, because I don't even have extra research about it. Because for me, I believe in embracing how I appear. That is who I am. But people are kind of, taking extra miles to make their colors different a bit. I don't know.
To make their colors light.
I don't know. They are taking that extra step of, finding all possible means to make that color more light.
So that's where, you mentioned about bleaching in Uganda. For our listeners, bleaching is like people use certain kind of chemicals or tablets to change their skin color tone, so they can become white when they are not white people. So if you want to be white, they want to be light-skinned. And it's really a big challenge in Uganda, I think. So as you mentioned in your story, it seems it is because of the colonial aspect. I mean, that's what I think. Because when the white people came to Uganda, they showed that everything nice is white. Because they expect you have money, they expect you are rich, they expect you are you are really, white is more with the aspect of colonialism. What white people brought for people in Africa was to change their mindset, not just about their feeling about Africa and Uganda, but also to feel bad about their skin color.
And it's even a mindset still standing right now. Because even if someone found you, someone you literally stay with in the same house, we've been in COVID, we had lockdowns. You're staying with someone, and we all know the situation that is ongoing in the country. We are all locked down, total lockdown, no work, no nothing. And someone would come out to meet your mom who is brown, and the first thing they would say is, for you look good. Seems you have money, and this is a description by how the person appears. So they think being brown or being white or being light is being rich, is having good food, is having a very, very nice life. It's a mindset still stuck with that people, and people get more influenced. And like, maybe if I look like this, probably I would even be more attracted to men. Or maybe I will even have more chances of changing my life because of how I look. There's a saying in Uganda that says, my face, I cannot have such a face and fail to feed myself or live a life I want to live, So it comes along with a lot of issues and misconceptions and influence that people end up making, which actually kills their originality as well.
Yeah. I see that. And I wish some people in Uganda who have issues with their skin color, trying to change to be white, had a chance to move to the countries of the white people, and then they see how we people who are here, we want our skin color, we want to be who we are, we don't want to change because that is who we are. We love our skin. But as you said, it's a colonialism mindset that was put into people. It is taught, it is put in adverts. I see adverts all over Uganda.
Yeah.
And advertising is a big problem. And you artists, what is your take about that? I mean, you artists, you need to reflect what society.
There is a lot of misconcept and I should say greed. You know, our profession, and I'm sure the same thing happens to other professions as well. Our profession comes along with a lot of challenges. I don't know why the world is so messed up that when you try to do the right thing, there's always someone earning out of defying it or hitting it away, you know? So as artists, like I told you in the beginning, we are mirror, we are the reflection to society. We are the mirror to society. We recreate what we go through every day. And one of the ways we've tried to do this as an advocacy program, we've tried to act out, create content that shows the issues that come along with these things. But society, one of the problems we have is society is not willing to kind of understand us. And one of the problems I see why they can't understand us is because we don't contextualize issues. When I want to tell you the effect of bleaching, I am using a strange language to teach you these things. Yet if I had told you this thing in a language you best understand, I feel like there would be positive response towards it. So my take as an artist is going to come as advice for anyone who can come along this. I feel like we need to restructure. There is no department in this world or profession or human being who lives by themselves, you know? Something or someone has to support you somewhere, somehow. So I feel like the chain has to be linked the right way to make these things change. From an artist or from a creative writer who is in a creative space creating something to put out there, to a director who is going to direct it, to an artist or an actor who is going to recreate this and give it life, to a DOP who is going to shoot it, to the person who is going to put it on TV, the broadcaster, and the consumer at the end of the party. They all need to come to a mutual ground, you know, and find a better way this can be put to society to make sense. We are so much influenced by things that do not make any sense to us in the angle of money. That's why I told you about the greed aspect. People want, the question is always one, how do I gain? Where do I gain from? If we reduce the aspect of gaining, because this money we make every day, William, we eat this money and it's gone. You can never make enough money. But the content you create 5 years from now is going to live forever. We are watching movies from I don't know. And we are still watching these things and picking relevancies from them, you know? So we need to restructure our chain of production. It's the only way. And the other best way to do this is to make people understand things in their actual or in their original state. I have no reason why I can tell a Ugandan human being using French to understand what I want them to understand. But if I tell them in a local language they literally understand, I feel like I'll have more positive response than using a colonial language. Yeah.
So, still on this skin color tone issue, what can be done for children, for young people to love their skin color tone? Not to bleach, not to become white. What can we do? What can be done? Do you have an idea? What do you think about that?
What can be done is I'm going to get the solution from my story straight up. I feel like our grandparents, for now, it is luck and an opportunity for us that some still exist. And with their existence, they still have the originality in them. They have a certain tradition they grew up to and culture that they believe still needs to be respected. So I feel like parents trying to modernize life so much for their kids because of the influence and whatever they watch on TV. If these kids spend more time with these grandparents who at most for the moment, I can say they could be a true source to keep people in shape. Because for them, they have a tradition and format they grew up with. They have a discipline. They know a growing child cannot do ABCD. A child cannot greet someone without kneeling in this culture. And most of these things cut across to all the cultures in Uganda. You find that some things that are just so general that every culture has them. So I feel like if these modern parents who are trying to modernize life, let them have their time with their kids, but also give these kids to the elders. I feel like there is a more way they can use natural aspects to help people believe in who they are. And even the parents themselves, they need to take a step. There's a way things are being neglected and left up in space, apparently. And I feel one of the things that have helped us is what the lockdown did and COVID. People have learned to have more time with families. People have learned to relate with people more. So me, who was refusing to stay in the village in my story because I felt it was hell, in actual sense, there is more I would pick from the village that would nurture me as a human being that I may not be able to notice at that moment as a child. And maybe I could notice them at a later time and they're not even at any of my advantage or disposal for use. So the solution I feel that can best work in regards to my story, because I feel it gives me the best answer for this, is let's have more time with our local people in the villages, our grandparents, if they still exist. Let's go back there. Those stories they used to share for us give us more inspiration. You get, because those people that you grew up believing in. Every Ugandan child, I am sure, has grown up being told a grandfather or mother. It is not easy for a child in Uganda to forget what a grandmother or grandfather told them, whether by story or by word or by action or by what. We always pick up these things. So I feel like it's the only way we can try to beat modernity, because the pace at which modernity is running is really uncontrollable.
Yeah, I get that really, yeah. And in simple terms, you said we need to tell our own stories, give the positivity, the stories that really support us to love ourselves, to appreciate who we are and what we have and how we appear, our appearance. Yes, I get that. Yeah, it's really nice to hear this conversation, to have this conversation with you. And because of time, I would really want to ask you one last more question. Do you have anything that you would like to share with our listeners that we did not talk about and you wish like you want to talk about it, to share it? I mean, yeah, to market it. Maybe you're an artist, you have projects that you have accomplished or that you would like people to follow up on your platforms.
Okay. One of the things I should say is I usually tell my friends and people in my spaces that when you're good, you are good. There is no time a bad person is going to relate with you if you're good. These are two different things. When you are good, you're always going to relate with very good people. And like I told you before, it's support. Stars make stars. You know, there is no star who has made themselves. If there is any, I doubt if he's on this planet. He or she could not be. There must be alien. But stars make stars. It's from people who have been somewhere that others use those chances to stand up and be better people. And that's what the world is. It's a chain. It cannot be linked unless there is something else to link it. So I would urge people, one, to support our works. Secondly, take time to understand these works. You know, what are we trying to put out? And in case of any support in whichever way, in terms of growing craft and making the world a better place, let them take that step. There's a lot of mistrust. There's a lot of misuse. There's a lot of hooliganism in this profession that stands within. We have a lot of people who are living a life they are not supposed to be living, people who are practicing a wrong job because they want to pick something out of it. But let's take time and analyze. And where we can even criticize, let's criticize. Because there is no growth in this world. If we didn't have challenges and problems, we wouldn't be who we are today. So if there's something wrong, if there's something bad happening, let's talk about these things and make the world a better place. Besides that, I would urge everyone to go to these social medias and find out who we are, get to know more about us. I use Katongole Henry Nathan on all my social media handles, on my YouTube, on my Instagram, on my Twitter, on my Film Freeway, on my LinkedIn, on my WhatsApp. It's the same thing. Let's go and share this content. Let's follow Otako's works, because this is a very big initiative. We are going to have a lot of intercultural relations, It's time now to share. I want to know your culture, and I would love you to know my culture. And there's something good I feel that can come out of, because that's the chain now I'm talking about. Even countries have boundaries, but if there's no boundary, it means we would not be connected. Everyone would be in their own space. But the fact that there is a boundary line that connects us, that makes the chain complete. So let's follow these works, let's support, and let's make our world a better place.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nathan, for being part of the storytellers on our Hear My True Story Kampala project, season 1. And we are really excited about your beautiful story. And thank you for sharing that beautiful story. And this conversation, it was nice to have this time with you. And also those who are listening, our listeners, please, I'm going to put information about where you can find most of the works of Nathan. He's a dancer, a film actor, a model. He has YouTube, he has Instagram, Facebook, and all other social medias on this podcast. You'll sit down in the notes, and then you'll know and you get in touch with Nathan. I think they can also get in touch through you on email. I can also put it there if you say so. Yeah. So I would like you to share with me these social media handles, and then I can attach them on this podcast.
I surely will.
Yeah. So
thank you so much, William, for the opportunity and the chance. It's a great initiative.
Yeah, you're in Uganda, so would you like to do to say bye in your language, to teach us, the listeners, how to say bye in Uganda,
Okay.
If someone listening who's coming from Europe, US, anywhere in the world, they can learn something from you today.
Okay. Bassebo ne bannyabo abawuliriza baffe abalungi, tweyanziza nnyo, tweyanzeege, mwebale obuwagizi, mwebale kubanga mwekuumidde ku kaprogrammu kano Hear My True Story ne Otako Williams wamu nange Katongole Henry Nathan. Era mbakubiriza mwongere okuwagira, mwongere okuwuliriza, tukwasaganye ekintu kino tulabenga eggwanga n'ensi yonna okutwalizaamu, tugifuula ekifo ekisinga okubeera ekirungi. Mubeere bulungi, mweraba.
Yeah, translate.
So what I said is, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this podcast. And thank you for being supportive and supporting Otako Williams and Hear My True Story. It's a very nice platform, and I'm here with him as a storyteller, Katongole Henry Nathan. We urge you to keep supporting and listening and creating avenues where we can make this a better thing. Let's make our countries, let's make a world a better place. Thank you so much. Goodbye and stay blessed.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nathan. And it was nice talking to you. Bye.
Thank you.
To our listeners, we are happy to always have you subscribing, sharing, and talking to everyone about this podcast, telling them that there's some nice work. Listen to the stories from Ugandan storytellers, Ugandans living in Uganda, in Africa. It's quite a nice platform for them to share their own true stories. Bye.
These stories were directed by Zoe the Storyteller. Audio production for the stories was done by Adnan Singh Kumba. Many thanks to our project coordinator Nicholas Kayiwa and all the storytellers of Hear My True Story Kampala Season 1. For more stories, please visit hearmytruestory.com. For more information about Umuti Kreativ, visit umutikreativ.com or send an email to info@umuti.org. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to our podcast, Music by Edwin Matovo, hosted and produced by Otako. Subscribe to our podcast for more stories and visit us on our website, hearmytruestory.com, for more stories. All the links are listed in the show notes of this podcast.